From Boston, Massachusetts, to Adelaide, Australia, and everywhere in between. Talking local and national sports and just about anything discussed in a tavern. Broadcasting from South Lyon, Michigan. Welcome to Easy Speak at Speakeasy 330 with your hosts, Rich and Tom.
We are back.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks, hasn't it? Life gets in the way.
Yes, it does.
Life definitely gets in the way.
It's been about a month, I think, since.
Really? Been that long?
It's been about 4 weeks. Yep.
Okay.
But here we are.
Man, we're here.
Here we are. That's all that matters.
And too bad that we got a lot of things to talk about today that are going to be, some are going to be kind of topic sensitive, but I think it should be talked about.
Sure.
We're going to talk about a topic that really bothers me, and that's the game that happened on Saturday.
Well, I mean, show of hands, who's surprised, really? My hand would not be going up because our favorite coach, he's been known to disappoint when, we need him to perform.
It's got to be the Lululemons.
I don't know what it is.
It has to be.
Well, it was Walmart khakis before that, and then Lululemon chimed in and said, we can't have you wearing Walmart brand khakis. So here, let me back this truck up to the old homestead and a lifetime supply of Lululemons.
Yeah, and I mean, we were going to start off with something totally different, but since we started talking about Michigan, I mean, we might as well keep going. My personal opinion, and you can agree to disagree like that, but when you look at it from a statistical standpoint, Michigan outplayed Michigan State from a statistic standpoint.
Right, with the exception of the running game.
Yeah, but I'm just saying overall yards gained.
Mm-hmm.
McNamara, that was probably his best game I think he's ever had from a passing standpoint.
He did well, almost 400 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Had a pick, but that really didn't hurt too much.
The pick did hurt because that was the end of the game. They were making a charge down.
Yeah. You're right.
Trying to trying to make something happen.
You're right. I for some reason I thought that was in the first half, but you're right. It was sealed the deal. That was
the deal breaker right there.
Tried to force it in, yeah. But I mean, for the most part, he looked pretty good back there, and they needed him. Because really, the run game for Michigan never took off.
And that's one of the things and that's in our show notes that we have prepped up here. The first half looked good. I mean, Michigan looked good in the first half. I will say
they controlled every aspect defensively. I think Walker, he played fairly well in the first half. He definitely didn't go off like he did in the second, and Michigan had a couple sacks, and they had Peyton Thorne running for his life, and the secondary looked pretty good. All in all, Michigan pretty much controlled that first half, and coming out in the second half, you expected that to continue, but that was not the case.
And not only that though, when you look at stats, the offensive line for Michigan played one hell of a game because McNamara didn't get sacked.
Yeah.
Michigan got 3. They got 1 from Hutchinson and
their pass blocking was
Jabo.
Solid.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing is they did a pretty good job of containing, but when you put 8 guys in a box, you're not going to be running like you normally do, and it's time to make some changes.
Sure. It was good to see the tight end all actually get involved. He's been hyped.
Yeah, he's very
Michigan,
active.
And he the team in the receptions, and then ended up, toward the end of the game getting hurt, twisted his ankle or whatever. But it was good to see him get going. But definitely the possession that killed him was when they brought McCarthy in, and after he had already fumbled the ball. Luckily, the Michigan State linebacker booted it out of bounds. But then the next possession they come in. They bring him right out, and it's a botched RPO, and the ball just drops, and Michigan State gets the recovery, takes it in, they take the lead, and
that was the nail in the coffin.
That was it. The momentum definitely was not in Michigan's favor at that point.
No, and then when you sit back and you look at everything, like I said in the beginning, Michigan from a statistical standpoint, outside of rushing, we're not going to include rushing because that guy, we're going to talk about him in a minute. But outside of that, Michigan pretty much had the game. However, I'm not going to take anything away from Michigan State's performance on there because
they held in.
They did what we couldn't do, and that was execute the plays when we needed them plays.
And here's one thing that I took the second half. Look at the sideline difference. Look at Mel Tucker on the sideline. He's got this look of rage on his face. When his team does something good, he's just like, yeah, let's go. And you can feel that fire, his drive. And then you look on the other side. Harbaugh looks so out of sorts. He looks confused. Frankly, he looks like he's just crapped his pants. And how do you get motivated with a coach like that? You never see him like interacting with his players.
Some players get motivated by action, like you said. Him, being fired up, and some players do feed off that. But then there's also guys who are not like that, and so I guess you got to find kind of like a common ground or like a happy medium.
In rivalry game, I want my coach fired up, and if you're a Spartan fan.
Well, you look at the Lions; their coach is fired up like crazy, and you see where that
college and pro a little bit different. I think
doesn't matter.
There's, in my opinion, there is
coaching is coaching,
right? But with a kid, when your coach is just jumping up and down, firing up. Look at when Michigan was winning. Earlier in the season, they go to Wisconsin, do the jump around. They were doing the jump around. All the coaches were jumping around. I don't think Harbaugh has enough rhythm to do that, but this particular game. As a player, you see your coach just fired up. That's going to motivate you. And I think that was the difference in the game. He had those guys ready to bust through the wall in the second half.
No, yeah, I can agree with you to a certain extent on that. But however, every one of those players is not going to be focused on Mel Tucker jumping up and down and getting out.
I get that.
What really gets them up for that game is the whole precursor throughout the whole season, to where they're always talked down to,
right,
of always being the
inferior, little brother and all that bullshit.
Yeah, that's fuel for the fire.
Right.
So when you look at it from that aspect, I can see that. However, we can pretty much go and safely say that the little brother mantra is
that's
over.
old hat.
But that right there, and I'm a Michigan fan.
Mm-hmm.
If Mel Tucker decides to stay at MSU, because he's known to jump ships,
the Big Ten's on notice.
He's known to jump ships.
Mm-hmm. 2 years.
It's going to be
his longest.
It's going to be a rough go for Michigan.
So when it comes to these rivalry games, Harbaugh's 2-4 against Michigan State now?
Yeah.
And he's 0-5. He'll be 0-6 here in about a month against Ohio State. Is it a situation where he's just not getting the message to the players of what the meaning of these big rivalry games are? Or is he looking at it, oh, this is just another game on the schedule? Because when I look at State and Ohio State, that's the only game that matters when it comes to those programs. Those guys, those coaches get their players absolutely ready and give them the meaning of what that rivalry is. Where I just don't feel it like the old days of Bo Schembechler and Lloyd Carr, which I was never a big fan of Lloyd Carr, but he drove in.
Oh, but Lloyd Carr never really was one of those coaches that would. He was not a animated guy on the sideline.
No, but his players knew the meaning of those games. They knew what those games meant.
Yeah, we got a comment in here right now. This is Harbaugh's just not that good.
I agree.
That's what he's.
I agree.
And Kevin, chime in. Kevin and I talked about this a little bit today. And it's just, I think what needs to happen is I think we just need to say, hey, you know what? It's been real.
Well, he's got no buyout clause anymore. So they don't owe him anything.
They can just shit can him and walk away from it.
So what we were talking about Saturday night was who would you get? Who's out there right now, that would want to come to this school? Because say what you want, Michigan is not an elite program anymore.
and it's not at the top of a lot of people's lists of destinations that they'd want to go. Who's out there? Who's a young coordinator that they could go in, and I don't give a shit if he's a Michigan man or not. I want a coach that is going to come in here and get shit done.
We had that, and they got rid of him
Rich
because
Rod.
we had that.
Yep.
It's because
The alumni.
Michigan alumni
Yep.
will not go for. So that's why we will always are. I mean, and we're trending that pattern
Mhm.
where we already are a doormat for Ohio
Sure.
State.
Yep.
They wipe their feet with us
Mhm.
every November.
It's a warm up to the Big
And-
Ten championship.
And that it's always going to be that way. And that's, I mean, I've come to grips that, you know what, we're going to be a 10-2 football team
And-
from here on out.
We talked about it. We both agreed. PJ Fleck, row the boat. I mean, I was a little disappointed when he took Minnesota, but
Kevin said, you were saying, what kind of coach can we bring in or whatever? He says, Mel Tucker.
well, I did see that on Twitter. That somebody was posting that they should go. You can't beat them. Let them join you.
Yeah.
But,
So
I mean, it's just one of those things. I think they're handcuffed to what like you said, the alumni wants, and I just think they're so stuck in 1980 that
here's a great comment. So QB1 chimed in, Mr. Cunningham from River City Media. He chimed in and he said, that should be a candidate for Game of the Year. And this is coming from a non-Michigan
SEC.
fan. He's an SEC guy through and through.
volunteers.
But he said he's really convinced that Michigan has the more talented team. It's just that the other team has better coaching for their team.
Let's not hide the fact that Mel Tucker did probably better than any other coach in the country.
He ransacked the transfer portal.
He went to the portal and he got players that are A, had the experience, and B, were ready to play. I mean, look at.
Well, they might have. They were probably players that were in situations where they were not getting played, and that's how he got those guys. He got. We talked about it.
Walker.
We went through it. Whatever. He got Walker from Wake Forest. I mean, but then he also got a couple guys out of Alabama and stuff like that.
Just think about it. I think
so.
He went
and did that. And
third string corners from Alabama are upper echelon Big Ten players. So
and that's the thing with everybody always says Michigan is this and that. Let me tell you something. The only team in the Big Ten that is SEC worthy is Ohio State. Nobody else.
Yeah,
nobody else.
Yeah, and they're showing it now.
Yeah,
I mean, it's after their little hiccup against Oregon, but you got to look at that situation. If there was a good time to lose a game, week 2 is a pretty damn good time to lose a game for Ohio State because they're right back in the talk, and rightfully so. They're probably, I think they're ranked, what, 4th, 5th?
Yeah. No, Michigan State's ranked 5th, I believe.
Okay.
And I think Ohio State is 4th.
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes Georgia because that defense is sickening.
Cincinnati.
Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan State, then Cincinnati. I think Michigan State
Cincinnati's
going to
drop that far back.
I'm just saying that's my top
okay.
5.
All right.
I think Michigan State probably could beat Cincinnati with that running game. I don't know, but we're going to see really quick if there's going to be a hangover. We'll see this week. I think they play Purdue. Which
they do play
no
Purdue.
Slouch.
Yeah, Purdue.
George Jackson said that was going to be the West representative.
Purdue's 5-3. So, and their losses were again. Yeah, those are the kind of they're that team where they will lose the games they're supposed to win, and then they win the
go to Iowa and ransack them. But how's Michigan State going to compare to Ohio State? I mean, CJ Stroud early in the season, there was big question marks.
You see, he's really come on as of late.
He's been unbelievable.
So therefore, I think
their receivers are insane.
I think Ohio State's going to beat them. I think Ohio State's going to beat them. I'd be honest with you, the way that Penn State normally plays Michigan State, I think Penn State's got a good chance of beating Michigan State too.
Penn State looked okay at times against Ohio State this past week. What could help Michigan State is Ohio State's defense isn't what it's normally been in previous years. They might be able to run on Ohio State, which if that's the case, then they're going to key on it. And Peyton
Ohio-
Thorne's a really good
But
quarterback.
Ohio
so-
State's not going to give up 200 burger on them. I tell you that.
No, because they'll make the adjustments. And about that, what happened to that middle defense? I mean, was that a situation where they were not putting the right personnel on the field? They weren't calling the right plays. They weren't putting 8 in the box, because no matter what they did, and tackling,
I'll be honest with
too.
But you know what though? He leads college football with broken tackles,
Right. Well, and he showed it.
yards after
Yep.
contact.
He was getting hit 2-3 yards in the backfield and going in for 6-7 yard gains.
Yeah. Yeah.
They could not
matter what he threw at him.
all over on Twitter.
They were
I just kept seeing people, refs screwed the refs. I don't want to use that as
No,
an
you can't.
excuse.
You honestly,
You were up 30-14 and you blew it.
No, and you can't. You know what? It was one of those things where, the refs boo. The refs made the call. They reviewed it, and the calls were correct.
Right.
As much as I said here, and I was like, no, no.
And we had Bill in here, the
Jason,
protagonist.
Jason, we know it's lagging. It's Jason, I'm same
Internet issues.
Yeah, we should be okay. All right. I think we got it.
Oh.
I think so.
We're on.
Man, I don't know if it's Facebook or if it's us, but yeah,
I don't know.
It's terrible.
I don't know if it'd be Facebook or it'd be StreamYard.
Well, so with the performance that was given to us on Saturday, and I mean given to us, I mean it was pretty much shoved right up Michigan's ass.
Yep.
Heisman talk.
My opinion.
Well, our opinions don't mean shit.
Well, my opinion, that put Kenny Walker the third at the top of the list.
But and I agree with you. And I would say, for my personal opinion, yes. But I'm going to probably speak on behalf of what a lot of people are thinking. Maybe not quite yet. Maybe one more dominant performance, because they still have a huge, you know what?
Well, I think he's only had a couple games.
Yeah.
Well, see, he's not. I don't think he's in. I mean, it's Matt Corral at Old, and he had a bad loss over the weekend. I mean, there isn't one player that has just jumped out this year that has said, far and beyond the best player in college football. I think after a 200-yard rushing, 5-touchdown performance against your rivalry, I think that speaks volumes. And yeah, he's had a couple games where he's been but they're undefeated. They're in the top 5. They're at a Power 5 school. Yeah, it's Michigan State. They're not the sexiest, school. No,
And I think that's what's the downfall of that is just, yeah, you're right. They're not a sexy school,
no.
but he's putting up sexy numbers.
Right. I mean, it's just you can't argue that fact that what he's doing coming into a new program, out of the transfer portal from Wake Forest, which how in the hell Wake Forest lets that guy go is beyond me. But
yeah, exactly. You know what though? But it might not have been his scheme.
There could have been
might
a
not have
coach
been his
leaving or whatnot. I mean, there could be many things, but if he consistently goes for 100 couple touches and then shows up in 3 weeks against Ohio State, I'd be hard pressed to find another player that's more deserving. And again,
I can.
This is
I will
coming
agree.
from a Michigan fan.
I will agree with you on that.
He is an absolute bulldog. He reminds me of Rod Dane, Wisconsin, way back in the early '90s, mid '90s.
Yeah.
And he was a type of back that he's not going down on first contact. Jerome Bettis, not going down on first contact, and he's looked good. He's looked really good.
Yeah, I want to apologize because I'm sure we're getting a lot of lagging action here because it's the connection's dropping in and out. But whatever, we're going to keep pushing along because it's still recording. That's all I care about. So after a performance like that, okay, so does Jim Harbaugh have to win against Ohio State in order to save his job? Or do you think maybe he's probably just done?
I'll give you 2 answers.
Okay.
If he loses to Ohio State, should he be fired? Absolutely. Will he be fired?
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Because like you talked about the alumni association, they love Jim Harbaugh. He is an absolute. I'm surprised they haven't put a statue.
It's got to be
Jim
like
Harbaugh.
it has to be like 75 for, 25 against.
Because bottom line, we were just there 2 weeks ago. Just shy of 110,000 people. People are still filling the seats. The alumni love him.
I
He
just don't know why.
Say what you will. He recruits well, but that's the extent of it. He just doesn't coach well. But he's a Michigan man. You know what that means. So do I think he should be fired? Yes. Will he be fired? No.
Yeah. Yeah, it pains me. I was a huge homer for
I drank the Kool-Aid too.
Yeah, because he was coming from the NFL.
And what he did in
exactly
Stanford,
and what he did, but Stanford, he had luck and
San Diego State. Yep. He brought that program.
So back. Yeah, he comes in. I as we call it, I hit the cornbread.
Mm-hmm.
Now that cornbread tastes like shit. It's stale. It's stale as hell. It's like
it's like the what you get in the Christmas
fruitcake.
The fruitcake. It just gets handed over and over every year, regifted.
Yeah, the fruitcake.
Jim Harbaugh is the real life version of fruitcake.
Yeah, and then so little thing about this we talked about a little bit. We've talked about Mel Tucker. He's come out and pretty much said, not in those words. He's like, I'm in Michigan State and this, that, and the other. What are the chances that he even entertains a look at LSU or USC?
Well, and you hearkened in on it, his track record in the last probably 10 to 15 years.
He's a carousel of a coach.
The longest tenure he's had was 2 years, and you're going into his second year at Michigan State. Do I think he'll entertain it? Absolutely. Money talks. And do you think LSU? He's the hot commodity right now. They're gonna approach him. USC is gonna approach him. Those are 2 big time programs.
Yeah.
But here's
a lot of money.
Here's the thing that I'm gonna look at that says he's gonna stay. He played at Wisconsin. Paul Chryst is kind of slowly wearing his welcome out there. I can see a situation where he holds out at Michigan State, builds that reputation, and then when that Wisconsin job opens up, he's going to jump then.
I mean, I don't even know in my lifetime there's been a coach that was a Big Ten coach that lateral moved to another Big Ten school.
I mean,
He could be the first.
Tucker
He could be the
Tucker
first.
told everybody in Colorado, stood up in front of his players and said he ain't going anywhere. And in the next week, he done gone.
I'm
he
out.
gone.
I'm out later.
He caught a flight to East Lansing, and they paid him money, and he left. And that's the scary thing with some of these coaches. They're damn good coaches, but how much faith can you put in their word when they've proven that their word really doesn't mean a whole lot?
Yeah.
So, do I think he's going to leave? There's a part of me that says no. I'm not sure if that would work down in LSU. I don't know if he'd really want to go down to LSU because, I mean, that leash is going to be real small. I mean, look at Coach O.
You know what, though? Yeah, get your money and get out.
Yeah, I mean, that could be the
that could
case.
be
I
it.
mean, Coach O is going to get $19 million for walking. And they interviewed him. They're like, so what any plans? What are you going to, after the end of the season? He goes, well, they gave me enough money to buy a sandwich, so I think it'll be all right.
That guy's
He couldn't keep his
that guy.
little O in his pants.
That guy, I tell you. So,
but for Michigan State, it would be devastating if he left the program, because I think he's built it right back up to what D'Antonio had it.
Mark.
Mark, yeah. And then if he leaves him, and it kind of leaves that Cub bare too. But so my guess is he's gonna stick around, especially if he doesn't beat Ohio State this year and get into the Big Ten championship. I think he's gonna want some unfinished business. So
yeah,
it'll
definitely be an interesting offseason for them.
Right.
So the first month of the NHL season is in the books.
Yeah.
Believe it or not,
Pleasantly surprised. Yeah.
I'm very pleasantly surprised.
First off, I love the fact that all the kids are up on the team. All the names that
Still missing Veleno.
Well,
I'm talking about when they started. He just got here.
Yeah, but I mean, he's there now, and he probably deserved to be up, but he proved. I mean, he went down to Grand Rapids and dominated. I almost said Toledo.
They do have a team, the Walleye.
Yeah, they do. So I am happy that they didn't go down their normal route where they just bury
him in the farm system. Yep.
Their prospects down in the farm system, and then I mean, look what they did. Mantha, they did that. So
you know what though, even though Verana is not with us right now,
he's
hurt.
That would be a nice piece to have right now.
But getting rid of Mantha,
he was a headache.
Who was hot garbage.
And you got Verana for him.
Verana.
I mean,
so that's. I mean, the future is looking. The Iser plan. The Iser plan is coming along. Nice.
Look at his first round pick last year, Lucas Raymond.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you right now,
he looks the part.
19. He's played a couple years already in the Swedish SHL, and played well. I mean, he was a boy amongst men in that league, which I think has really helped him out here.
He doesn't
being able to play with the physical older crowd. Now he's doing the same thing, but he's doing it in a smaller rink. So which means that by him being as shifty and as well of a skater he is,
he's adapted to it.
Well, not only that though, it plays to his style of hockey.
So I'll look back to the overtime game against Washington, down 2-0. They battle back. They send it to overtime. In that game-winning possession, who's on the ice? Lucas Raymond, Mo Sider, Dylan Larkin. And it wasn't for like a quick. They were on that ice for quite some time.
Yeah.
And Raymond's
they were cycling it for a little bit.
Raymond's puck handling skills. He got knocked down, got right back up, kept the puck, kept the possession alive. But to see two of the three of your future, I mean, Larkin could be in their future, who knows? But to see specifically those two guys on the ice.
Don't talk about my captain like that.
he's wearing in on me. He's growing on me. I like his aggressiveness, and he seems to be playing a little bit better. But in that particular moment, to have those guys on the ice and get success really made me think that there's something brewing here.
It was funny. I forgot where I was at. I was somewhere. I think I was at Dick's Sporting Goods, and I was talking with somebody or whatever, and the guys started talking about the wings. Yeah, that's Cedar kid. Yeah, that's Cedar kid. It's cider. I'm like, like apple cider. It's not cedar. Yeah, that what's his name? Mo Cedar. Mo. It was an older guy. I was like,
sure,
cider. Get it right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're gonna butcher a guy's name, don't do it like. Don't call him Cedar.
You got the first name right, Mo.
But he just was awarded rookie of the month. He had played 9 games, had 8 points, he had 8 assists. Dude, you know what?
His ice time is.
I don't
is
need you.
up there.
I don't need you to goals. You can contribute the way to.
He's laying the body. He's passing the puck. But the thing that I like the most about this is these guys are showing zero fear.
Grit.
They're
grit.
out
I mean,
there.
I'm talking
yes,
grit.
Yes, they're out
Kneecaps.
there and they
Kneecaps.
Yep, absolutely. They're out there and it looks like they've played for years. These guys, and I guess that was the one thing I wondered from a 19-year-old kid. I mean, how many first round picks play the very next season? Doesn't happen very often in hockey, but he gets put with the team and he's showing results and he looks the part. That's the one thing that,
just like you just said, what player does that? Well, obviously he does, but hey, little birdie came out yesterday and said that Mr. Cole Caulfield has been sent down. But but here's the thing: is Montreal started off terrible.
They got their first win against the Wings. They
had
more goals against the Red Wings that day.
Yeah,
and here we are about to bash on them.
Well, they're taking it to them right now. He had 1 assist through 10 games. So they're like, well, you know what? We're gonna send him down. He did great in the playoffs last year, and he was very instrumental in that run to the Cup Finals last year.
Well, he went right from the Frozen Four, right to Montreal, or as our neighbor across the street will say, Montreal. So not having that time off, he just kept on going. Maybe that helped him in having the time off after the Cup run. I don't know. So
maybe time off was bad for him.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, it's a bit of surprise to see that they sent him down, but they'll send him down. He'll dominate wherever, down there.
Yeah.
Get his confidence back, and he'll be back up probably within a couple weeks or so.
Yeah, for sure. And right now, we'll stick on the topic. We can stick on the topic of hockey. The NHL is in absolute shambles right now. It is absolute shambles.
Well, they're not.
They are. Good. I'm going to tell you right now. I am not, and I never have been a fan of Gary Bettman. After what came out and what he had said, I'm still not a fan, and I think it's time for him to move along. But he won't go anywhere because the owners love him.
They love him. They
love him.
They'll say he's instrumental in the ESPN TNT contracts.
No, Gary Thorne was instrumental in that for me. They need to bring him back.
Why is he not?
So
I mean, that team, their broadcast team, they're okay. The TNT team is just the NBC guys retreaded over, but you can't have ESPN hockey without Gary Thorne or Bill Clement. Not just it's sacrilegious.
Yep,
it's wrong. You brought the theme song back. You should have brought the original crew back.
Yeah,
the fuck.
I agree. So the NHL is not looking good. Earlier this week, surfaced was a report that surfaced out after an internal investigation with the Chicago Blackhawks.
The Chicago, shout out Bill.
Chicago Blackhawks. It was reported back in 2010 by a former player, who was at the time known as John Doe, has since come out and publicly said it was me. His name's Kyle Beach. He came out and said in May of, or it might have been early May of 2010.
So in the midst of a playoff
run, he was sexually assaulted by the videographer of the team, film guy of the team. And I think his name is, give me 1 second here. I got it written down in notes, I believe.
And if he's
Aldridge.
if he's the videographer of this team, you show him the door. This comes out, you show him the door. What is it about this guy that the Blackhawks kind of chose to, for the lack of a better phrase, sweep it all under the rug?
And that's what they did. And, this week, Stan Bowman, who Scotty Bowman's son, he stepped away from the team, citing that he didn't want to be a distraction with the direction and future where the team was going. Some of those other guys were already gone. Joe Quenneville, who was the head coach of the Florida Panthers, who started off. Well, his tenure was 7-0 because he was gone when the Wings played him, and Wings took him to overtime. So 8-0. So the team started off hot. Their coach, and he stepped away because he knew, and he didn't do anything about it.
And it looks like all the top executives, knew what was going on.
Yeah,
and chose to ignore it.
Yeah, and they absolutely just botched it. They did not follow. So, and here's the thing: is such an organization as the NHL, as big as they are, as powerful as they are as a sports organization, everybody has policies and procedures and in place to do things, and obviously, sexual abuse is one big one. And they have it at every work. You've got to go through this type of training and everything like that, which they did. They went through the training on how to handle situations like this.
Yeah,
through the NHL. They feared that when it came to light to them, and I don't have the exact quote that's pulled up right now, but Quenneville said pretty much, it's damning. We don't have time to deal with this right now. This was in the middle of a playoff run. So he chose the Stanley Cup in the playoff run over an allegation.
Oh, by the way,
of something that happened.
They won the cup that year.
Yeah.
So do you look at the situation? Okay, it was 2010. That was 11 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. Times then were clearly a little bit different than they are now. Do you think that situation circa 2020, 2021 happens? Do you think it gets swept under the rug in the process that it was in 2010?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
It's more. No, it's more at the foreground.
It's more mainstream now.
Yes.
But you look at it, and it disgusts me because I think just as a human and having morals, that's just something that when somebody if somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, this happened," and it was wrong. All right, well, you know what? We're going to call the police. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And this is how we're going to handle it. But then again, you look at some of the things that were also said is that some of the players knew that it happened.
The players
they knew that allegations were there, dude, and they were taunting the guy. Yeah. They were taunting him and throwing slurs at him.
And that just shows me the tone deafness of the organization. Will that from top to bottom, everyone knew about it. It was a big joke. So, I mean, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And in this day and age, you just cannot allow something like that to happen. And I don't know what Beach is trying to, I don't know what he's trying to accomplish.
I think it's more. I think it's more of like it's a civil. I think it's a civil lawsuit.
What it's done for his, mental stability or whatnot.
For sure.
Which, I mean, obviously, if you're put through that situation, it's traumatic enough. But to be taunted and made fun of and called names by the players, and to me, I think the players should be called out. I'd like to know who the players were that were involved with that.
And you know what? Some of the players have come out and said that the cup needs to have that guy's name removed off the cup. Yeah, it has to go.
Well, the players need to go too if they're sitting there taunting it, and anybody affiliated with it, they should remove them.
Yeah,
they don't deserve it.
Also, with that, I keep clearing my throat. I just want to be like DJ Cool. Let me clear my throat. But the thing is like shortly after shortly after they won the cup and everything like that, June 16th, he met with HR, Blackhawks organization HR,
This is the
and
kicker.
says, hey,
This happened.
hey, we got some allegations against you, so here's the options. Your options are option A, we can investigate it, and whatever comes about the investigation, we'll handle accordingly, or you can resign. The guy goes, well, I'll just resign. So he knew.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, so you read into some of the um into the things of the. I don't want to go too deep into it, but him and the player, they were going out to bars, they were picking up chicks and everything like that, and they were, he was a young kid. This film guy was probably just a dweeb. He was
He
probably
used his status.
he was probably a dweeb. Used the player.
Hey, I work for the Blackhawks.
Hey, come on, let's hey, get these girls in here or whatever. They get in there, whatever. Well, I think the guy was trying to he was
toot the horn.
I think the other guy who resigned was the one who was making the advancements and whatever. And I think you're a 20-year-old kid. That's the thing, is one of the things we were discussing.
Move.
Exactly. It's a power move. Well, this guy,
you're an intern.
He's that,
You're an intern in an NHL organization, and you are looking up to this person as a mentor, so to speak.
Intern.
He was at Beach was an intern.
No, he wasn't.
I thought he was an intern.
No, he was a player.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, he was a player.
Okay.
No, he was a player.
All right. But still.
But shortly after that, after they were made aware, homeboy went and there's allegations that he was making advances towards an intern.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's
where
I'm seeing.
I think that was based on the article we read before we started.
Right. But do they need to investigate this thing more fully? Yeah, I think so, because I think there's a lot more that can be surfaced, a lot more to come out. I mean, like I said earlier, I think some of the players that were involved in the taunting and whatnot, I think they need to be called out. And I don't believe
that. I agree with you on
that. I don't think there's any criminal prosecution that can be, done, but it has to be surfaced that way. Other teams, other players, other videographers, and organizational people know that shit can't be tolerated. And especially right now in the NHL, it's finally getting some steam on ESPN, on TNT. It's talked about more. It's got a fan base. The last thing the league needs is shit like this to hold it down, because it doesn't have enough speed like an NFL or NBA or whatnot that can look past this stuff. But it's just now getting off the ground, and the NHL cannot afford to have any hiccups. That's why they need to do this and do it right.
Yeah, they were talking about the NHLPA guy. He's probably going to get. He's probably going to be gone.
Yeah,
because of the way that he's kind of handling it too. He works for the players. And
you know what?
All the way around, it's just not.
This is a situation where
a good look.
You can't. Yeah, you're representing these players, but if they did wrong, you can't support it. You can't protect that. It's like a parent.
No,
it's like a parent knowing that your son just committed murder and buried the girlfriend, and comes home without her, and basically turns a blind eye, protects him for as long as they could because he's their son. That's no good. That's unexcusable. You committed murder. You should be held accountable. Of course, I'm saying this as somebody who does not have children, so I cannot relate, but I'm looking at a situation where what's right and what's wrong.
It's morals.
Exactly.
What it boils down
it's
to.
Your compass.
It boils down to morals and, there's really nothing else to say.
Right.
So more to come on that. That's going to be an ongoing.
It's going to be a little while. Be a slow moving process because they want to get it right.
So really chaps my ass.
Squats or box jumps?
No.
Okay.
I know if you don't have kids. I have kids. You don't have kids. But what's with, I mean, there's like adult people that leave their kids at home and go to Disney without their kids.
Is this the what of the week?
It kind of is.
Well, first off, let me start by saying, why would you as an adult want to go to Disney? That's my first question. As somebody who's ever been there, everyone that I know, every human being that I know that's ever been there has all said the same thing. It's the worst place I've ever been in my life.
Now, I'll disagree with you on that. See, I've been there. I've been there as a kid. I was there before I had kids, but we went as a group. It was a group of us that had gone. And we didn't go to we didn't go to Magic Kingdom. They went to, we went to the roller coaster parks and Epcot and stuff like that. But since I've had kids, I have not gone down there and just be like, I'm going to go to hang out at Disney.
I have a friend of mine who used to work with him, and his wife go to Disney every year, and they love it.
I can't do that.
I don't.
Do you know how fucking expensive Disney is?
Yeah, and they bought into a timeshare, which we told them absolutely do not do. That's the dumbest thing you can do. They did it, and but yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe because I've never been there, but I went to Disney and downtown Disney in California. I think it's California something just outside of Disneyland. They've got like a little theme park. I forget the name of it, but I had there's an ESPN zone and hung out there and forget what it was the California something. I don't know. I've been there. That was okay, but didn't go into Disneyland. But I don't know. Maybe because I've never been there, I have a different opinion of it.
It could be. I'm not going to say it's terrible, but I just find it oddly weird that, because I've known a couple people in the last couple weeks that have done that. And so it's just it's weird.
But having kids, knowing that that's where, generally kids would like to go to Disney World.
Kids like to go to be kids there.
Why would you leave your kids at home? I mean, because I'd say if I want a vacation, I need a break. Okay. Go to the beach. Go to the Bahamas. Go to Hawaii or something.
Now, did you see this? So there was a guy in California who worked outside of, did we talk about this or no? But we might not have, but this guy lived outside of, I want to say it was like Six Flags or something like that. Right. I mean, I'm talking like a mile from Six Flags. So a season pass. Now in California, that season runs a lot longer.
We didn't talk about it. I know where you're going because I think I read the same story.
So this guy goes and gets a food pass.
Yeah.
For $150
for the whole season. And you're allowed one meal per
visit.
Yeah. So, well, no, isn't it 3 meals per visit?
No,
and a snack?
No, it's like you can go there. It's every visit that you go there, like every day. Just say it's every day. This dude went there for lunch and dinner for like 3 years. For $150, and he ate. And he even said, he goes, well, it wasn't really glorious.
Wonder what his cholesterol level was.
Yeah, he said, he goes, it wasn't the healthiest thing. He said, but then, they really started coming out with more healthy options, so it wasn't terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy would go there every day for lunch, and then he'd stop there on the way home and eat dinner there before he got married, before he got engaged and everything like that, and got married. But
it's genius.
But the guy said, he goes, by me doing that, he goes, I had enough money to pay off all my student loans, any debt, everything like that, just by doing that.
And living in California, where let's
exactly.
not, it's expensive AF to live, and the cost of living. That's genius. And I wonder if, since this,
would you do that? That's my question would be, would you do that?
If I'm, yeah, I will.
Shit, yeah.
I'm curious to see how Six Flags works this now that this has kind of gone viral. I'm sure there's been some other people that have jumped on the ship and decided, oh, I'm going to try that out.
See, and I can't eat that food. I can't eat the food
Well,
that
you'd be
much.
doing the staple scoot right to the bathroom.
No, I mean, after a while, I'm sure your guts just get tuned to it.
All right, Gareth.
But I mean,
look at that.
but it's, you can only eat chicken nuggets so many times. You can only eat chicken. You can only eat the burger or the hot dog so many times.
The orange lamp heated foil and paper wrapped.
It was funny. It was funny. The guys, when they went there, the people that worked there knew him by name. They knew him by name.
Well, I mean, shit.
Every day.
And Six Flags is open every day. I mean, all year round.
Yeah, especially out there in California.
It's not like Cedar Point here where it would be just for a few months out of the year. But Six Flags is a year round. It's genius for a single man wanting to save money, pay off stuff. Hell yeah, that's especially if you only lived like a mile away.
No, he worked like a mile or so away.
So it wasn't really out of his way to go and catch a ride here and there. I mean, shit. What was the season pass? $100. Food pass, $150.
Oh, dude, I just still couldn't do it.
It would get old really quick.
It would. But you know what though? If you got like a goal set in mind, like I'm gonna abuse this for 3 years, and you got to be. It's discipline.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Because you know what? You got your checks getting cashed all that time. You're looking at those checks. You're like, you look at the bank account. You're like,
this is working.
I got some money.
This is
right
working.
Here. I got some money.
Speaking of discipline,
start paying.
Speaking of discipline, before we check up out of here, being a Detroit Lions fan,
that's discipline.
Unbelievable.
That's discipline.
What the fuck happened Sunday? And I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
They got beat.
I sat here Saturday. We were watching Michigan State. I sat here and I proclaimed, I think they're going to win tomorrow.
Yeah, Saturday you said, you know what? They got a good chance at winning.
I like their chances. They gave everything they had in LA.
And I think that's what the problem was. They couldn't pull any more punches.
But I felt like they had some momentum. And even though it would have been one win, in the eyes of the world, who gives a shit? But for that team, one win would be like a Super Bowl for them. The Eagles are not that good.
Mm-hmm.
They were out without their leading running back. Jalen Hurts has been he hasn't been fantastic. Their defense has been suspect.
Sus, as the kids call it.
Sus. I felt it was a recipe for a Detroit Lion win. Well,
I think it was a fucking murder scene.
The Eagles went down and scored on their first possession. Detroit goes in, does what they do. Eagles get the ball. It's 10-0.
Field goal.
And then and then it's 17-0. It's 24-0. And it's just like, it's the Bengal game 2 weeks ago. I tweeted, I haven't seen a performance this bad since 2 weeks ago it's against the Bengals, which that Saturday prior to that game, I felt I like our chances.
I felt damn good about it.
I like our chances.
I felt damn good about it.
And boy, was I mistaken.
So pretty much the Lions pulled their pants down and showed you their butt.
Question. Is it lack of talent? Or did these players, because what I saw Sunday,
lack of talent.
That was a team that didn't care. From TJ Hawkinson.
Here's the thing. Here's my take on it, because believe me, as much as it pains me to sit here and talk about the Lions game, they're on a bye week, so let them go. We'll let them go this week. We're not
13.5-point underdog in the bye week.
We're not going to talk about it. They might win this weekend.
Well, they can't lose.
But the thing is with this whole, and people are like, I can't believe they gave this guy a 6-year contract. I can't believe they did this. The reason why they gave him a 6-year contract is because they knew it was not going to be overnight. They knew it's not going to be overnight. They know Jared Goff is not the quarterback of the future.
And
it's a stopgap.
Absolutely.
It's a stopgap.
But he is not the reason why.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. The reason why they lost is a couple things. First and foremost, their play calling is terrible. Absolutely terrible. I had higher hopes.
Anthony Lynn.
I had higher hopes. However, I'm going to give him a pass.
The cupboard's very empty.
Given the personnel that he has to work with,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass. Second of all, it seems like every game, the offensive line is getting worse and worse.
Specifically the right side.
The right side and blind side.
Sewell hasn't looked good either.
No, he has not. But that right side of the line is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely terrible. So I got into arguments on Twitter. I got arguments with people in person. I'm like, look, you cannot. Everybody's like blame everybody. Well, you know what? The two hardest positions to be in Detroit sports is the goalie for the Red Wings and the quarterback for the Lions. Yep. It's been that way. It's historical.
And it's always been we want the backup to play.
Yep, and it's historically it's always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
You can't hang it on Goff because his line is not helping him.
He has no time to even get his progressions.
Not only that though, his wide receivers cannot get separation.
Not at all.
So with a lack of time and his receivers not being able to get separation, he's going to take sacks. His only grace is a swing out pass to Swift, or it's going to be a something to
bailout
Hawkinson
by Raymond. Raymond is about the only receiver on that team that knows how to get open. And we talked about it the other day. Raymond's a good 3 on a team.
But right now he's being utilized as a 1.
He's really crafty. He's little, so he can kind of tuck into the defense.
He's a poor man Steve Smith. A poor man
Steve Smith. Or an old school Johnny Morton back in the day. So he has that ability to get in between like the zone, and he's pretty quick. So he has the ability to, but they're utilizing him as a 1, and he's just not. He is not that guy.
He's not big. He's not physical. He just.
And you had
you can't. You what it is the personnel. Exactly, you said cupboards are bare.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one.
Losing
thing.
Cephas didn't help.
Their offensive line on the right side has not been helpful.
Yep.
And believe it or not, Goff is throwing a couple balls that the receivers are not catching the ball.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
I
watched Hodge.
It's what we get at
Cordell Hodge or whatever his name is, who was hyped up coming out of Cleveland.
He was terrible.
He's been a total disappointment. It was good to see Amon St. Ra actually, get a couple plays and make some moves, and he's been kind of a late bloomer, but I don't know. It's just looking forward. Where do they get a win? Where? And ironically enough,
I don't want them to win. At this point right now, I do not want to win because I do not want to blow the first overall pick, because this is what I want them to do. I want them to shit their pants for the rest of the year. I want them to get that number 1 pick overall, and I want them to trade the pick. I want them to trade down to get more picks.
Here's the problem.
That's what I want. There's nobody coming out.
There is nobody out there like this past couple years that said, Joey Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. There's no player out there right now. I mean, to me, it's Thibodeau from Oregon, the D end, or it's Hutchinson.
See, I don't think Hutchinson is a number 1 overall. He is top 5, not number 1 overall.
Yeah, normally no, but that is a need this team absolutely has to have. They get I watch quarterbacks sit there and do multiple reads. They sit back there and their head goes, and they have the ability to wait for the receivers to get open.
But again, we're dealing
I
with
agree.
What we got.
Well, let's look at kind of last year's conversation. I was pro Micah Parsons, and I caught a lot of flack for that. He's not a number 7 pick. No, look at him.
Oh, I wanted Parsons.
And
the previous year, I wanted the guy out of Clemson.
Simmons, who's just now actually starting to take the form. So, yeah, specifically, was Parsons worthy of a 7? Generally no, but look at his production right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and everyone gave Cincinnati shit about Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is already won the Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. He's unbelievable what he can do. And those are two guys that really people were hesitant about. And Cincinnati went and got him, although they look like shit this past week. But he's been a difference maker. The Cowboys, I hate the Cowboys. Don't get me wrong. He is an absolute difference maker to the point where they said, Jalen Smith, see ya, captain, get out, who just got cut from Green Bay today. So do you generally go and get a defensive player, number one? No. But when it's a need that you absolutely have, you at least got to have that conversation. And if you can trade back to get them, yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. But they need defensive help badly, because there's just no pass rush whatsoever, and they get the secondary gets picked apart. They need everything.
Yeah,
they need more picks.
They need everything.
I agree.
And that's the thing. So I'm a fan for trading back.
Brad Holmes has his work cut out for him. Chris Spielman has his work cut out for him. They need to really dig deep and find players that are going to fit the mold here, and that are going to, because let's face it, whoever they draft in the first 2 or 3 rounds, maybe even 4 rounds, they're going to be day one starters. They're going to be expected to be day one starters.
Yeah.
Because this team is so depleted. I mean, I think there's some college teams that probably could beat the Lions. I doubt that, but that conversation is always had every year. Could Alabama beat, so maybe.
I know what, and I hate when people make that reference, because no, it could not happen.
But it's just saying that, like, you look at the scoreboards throughout this past week, and most of the games were close. A couple teams shouldn't have lost that did. And then there's the Lions. Oh, 44-6. Yeah, well, ho-hum, hey. And I feel so sorry for the fans. Do I feel sorry for the fans? I don't know. They know what they're getting into. But I've tweeted 2 times now in the last 3 weeks the Detroit Lions should refund every single person that paid money to go buy a ticket in there. It's an absolute embarrassment. And anybody that would want to go and watch that team play right now,
it's beyond. Yeah, it's beyond.
Come on, it's a disgrace. And the only way things, if you stop going to these games, you just do. Although I did notice the place was half empty.
Yeah, it was not a lot of people there.
So that was kind of good to see. But remember a few years ago, and I think they were playing the Bengals, when all these people showed up wearing Bengals gear with like paper bags over their heads, and they were cheering. They were like boycotting the Lions, but they still showed up wearing like Bengal gear. That shit needs to happen again. I mean, I think we all expected this, but I don't think we expected it to be this bad.
But a lot of it boils down to, if you're, field goal, you're not going to win games kicking field goals.
No.
We all know that.
No.
But at this point right now, let your team kick field goals.
Well, you need points.
Try to get momentum.
How many points did they have in the first half all season?
I have no idea. Probably none.
I think it's 17.
Really?
I think it's 17. They scored last week in LA. I think they put up, what did they have?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, but they scored their first half.
10.
Yeah. So they scored their first half touchdown against LA last week, week 7. And this past week was like I think the 3rd or 4th, I forget what the number was, the time that they were shut out in the first half. I mean, this is the NFL. And okay,
this is Michigan.
The offseason, Anthony Lynn clearly isn't going to be sought after, so he's probably not going anywhere. Or do they make a change? Do they bring in a new offensive coordinator?
Jim Bob Cooterback.
JBC.
All right. Well, on that note, so hey, it was good to get back. It was good. It was good to,
for sure.
It was good to shoot the shit a little bit.
Sorry about the little lag, and so hopefully the internet situation can fix itself at some point.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But we'll see you again real soon.
So yeah, we out. See you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Easy Speak at Speakeasy 330. You can catch us every week at ilogicmedia.com, Apple, and Spotify. Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram at EasySpeakCast for the latest and up-to-date news. Cheers.